Cannon, and we got
Sam Kiola, the wrestling connoisseur.
And this is this week and last week in WWE. Because again, WWE. We weren't here
just kind of
last week. I might do a separate thing on New Japan because a lot happened in New Japan. But right now we're going to focus on WWE. So we're going to go over last week's Monday Night Raw. So had Miz TV with an interruption where he was giving out awards. You know, so he gave himself the award for being the big dog of the Miztourage.
Curtis Axel got an award.
Yeah, for the first time in his life. And of course, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns interrupted.
Yeah. The Shield is back together.
Sort of at that point teasing a Shield.
Yeah. They all had later in the show they all had shirts.
But they had a fight with Jason Jordan, who beat Carl Anderson, Elias Sampson, who beat Apollo Crews again, and Braun Strowman fighting Matt Hardy.
Which was an interesting match.
Because that's a fair match.
Yeah. At the end of that, Braun was taking Matt off. And I thought,
he was. Is
this going to be the beginning of the broken gimmick?
I was hoping.
And I was like, But then...
No, they didn't. They didn't do it. They didn't do it then. It was
Shield comes out.
Yeah, Shield comes out with matching shirts, proving that Shield is back. They take it to Braun Strowman, triple powerbomb him through the announce table, and sort of set up for that feud between them. Which I had a huge
problem with. Which I know they're still booking Braun as a heel, but he's probably the most over face on Raw.
Yeah.
Which is the funniest part about it. So then you have when all three of your top faces come out. One of them who is the biggest heel on Raw,
even though he doesn't know it.
One of your top faces, which is absolutely ridiculous. So the only way he can get cheered is get back together with Shield, and they put Strowman through the announcer's table.
Right?
Yeah, of course. And it's just, the mentality behind it is like how do you get your wannabe top face over who's getting booed out of the building by putting your top heel who is getting a huge face response through a table.
It's the numbers game. I mean, it's like, no one man can beat Braun Strowman. We've even seen him go against two men.
And Rollins, he's beat both of those.
I mean, he's also beaten Roman Reigns.
Right. So this was like their thing, but there was absolutely no build to it.
Yeah. I mean, it was it wasn't a very well thought out build.
It wasn't. It was
because
just
they had them each of them compete in singles matches against him. So that's going to be the whole thing where he has beef with all three members of the Shield.
Yeah,
but it wasn't really laid out.
Read between the lines
very well. Yeah,
and it was very poorly done, very thrown together. Then Braun's pissed off the rest of the show.
Yeah,
which that builds up to the end,
and then it moves into Alexa Bliss making fun of Mickie James' age again, with Mickie James calling her biscuit butt.
Biscuit butt.
And it's
Allison,
stuck.
put your foot down.
The next match they had was the Brian Kendrick with Jack Gallagher against Mustafa Ali with Cedric Alexander. Unfortunately, the Brian Kendrick gets the win with, I believe it was sliced bread number 2.
Yeah.
Sort of furthering the feud between the Brian Kendrick and Cedric Alexander, which is what they've been pushing on Raw and 205 in the past couple weeks. And then we get a promo from Bray Wyatt to Finn Balor. In which
pre-taped
Bray Wyatt is Sister Abigail.
I don't know. It's kind of weird, and I was talking to King Wills earlier. This whole thing it's odd. It's the Wyatt Balor feud is dying. I mean, it's just slow.
And it's not doing anything for either of them.
It's killing both of them.
Yeah,
they're both gonna be worse off. But the strange thing is. I guess Bray and Bo haven't been at the last couple tapings. And
I know Bo is injured.
Is he injured?
Yeah. It was covered in Miss TV, where at the last thing that they did, he had apparently fallen wrong when he got attacked, and
I don't think that's real.
And was injured. Well, I mean, that's the kayfabe story they're
Because,
going with. So
I don't understand why both of them would be gone. Maybe it's coincidence. I don't know. Or maybe Bo is going to be Sister Abigail. I mean,
that'd be cool.
You know, maybe Vince is like, hey, we'll put some fake tits on you real quick, and
it'll work. Nobody will notice.
Shave.
I mean, Goldust is willing to get implants for a gimmick, so
right. So who knows? I mean, I could see Bo going, okay, because he's been under, you know,
right. Yeah.
They totally. Vince has something against Bo, it seems. But who knows?
Which is a shame because he was a great NXT champion.
Oh yeah, Bo's great.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's some family things happening or something.
I mean, I know Bray is in the middle of a divorce.
Is he getting divorced?
Yeah.
Legit?
That was the whole JoJo thing.
Yeah, the JoJo thing. Well,
so maybe there's things going on there.
I don't know.
We don't know. Kayfabe injury or real injury for Bo Dallas, we're not really sure, but they both have been absent.
It does hurt the feud not having Bray at the tapings.
Yeah.
To give live promos and whatnot. The Sister Abigail thing is weird already if they go with it being Bray and drag, basically. Yeah. I still really
if you really still need a Sister Abigail, I'm available.
I still really hope it's not... It's not Bray. I'm hoping it's not.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see you this Sunday.
You know, Will and I even thought, you know, what if it's Goldust?
That would be interesting.
I mean, it's not beyond the Wyatt gimmick and Goldust.
Yeah.
To say, hey, Sister Abigail's spirit has possessed Goldust. It could be. At least it would use.
It would use Goldust.
Use Goldust.
Well,
I don't know. We're getting scoldings.
I know. I'm too loud. I'm too rambunctious.
So, I don't know. The feud's it's gonna be a nice slow death, apparently. I think we just cover both Raws together because this past Monday night
built up a little bit more as well.
You know, it was a bad promo by Balor, and they switched back and forth.
Oh yeah.
And the Halloween get up. The pumpkin paint. I don't understand.
It was weird. But we gotta finish last Monday first, and then do this Monday. So the next thing that we're gonna talk about is they had a #1 contenders match to see who would face Asuka at Tables, Ladders, and Chairs.
Oh yes.
So that was between Alicia Fox.
You should have been very happy with
Sasha Banks, Dana Brooke, and Bayley, and Emma. So it was interesting because Emma was the one that ended up winning.
Emma won.
I mean, I felt like it was probably because Emma has worked a lot with Asuka, especially early on, back when Asuka first came to the WWE. One of her like first big feud was with Dana Brooke and Emma. Mm-hmm. So I think it's nice to have that sort of piece of history brought back up again. And I think it'll give Emma a good showing because it won't be a squash match, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe it will.
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows with Asuka? I love Asuka.
The bad part about it is that Emma has no build for this whatsoever.
Well, I mean, after the whole Emelina thing, it just took all the wind out of her sails.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know she was injured for a while, but if the Emelina thing had even worked out for like a month or 2 months, I think that could have regained her a little bit more momentum rather than having her come back and immediately be like, and now I'm going back to Emma.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like, it was a full stop. And it didn't help her.
I was talking to one of my other friends today, John, shout out. And he's just like, Emma, you know, he's like, I have no reason to see this match at all. And it's kind of, that's kind of the thing. And it's
unfortunate that that's the thought.
That's the thought process for it is, you know, why would I be interested in watching Asuka versus Emma?
And I mean, Emma is talented as well.
Has been undefeated.
Oh, yeah.
Period.
Which I love.
And then you have Emma, who
has been completely defeated.
You know, she hasn't gotten a win since she's been back. She may have one, or I don't know. It's always
Like a one-off thing.
Yeah, it's random. So it's gonna be a strange thing, you know. I mean, they really pushed the debut of Asuka at TLC early on before they had anything booked for it. So
which I like, because I mean, Asuka, they're really.
I think they should have kept.
I mean,
up with that.
they're really banking a lot on her getting over, because she was so
And
huge in NXT. That I think that there's a little concern of, because for the people who don't follow NXT, they're not going to know quite what's so special about her.
Yeah,
because they're not going to have seen a lot of her different performances.
They should pick it up very quickly, though.
Yeah,
hopefully.
I'm hoping that
but
with the match against
Shinsuke, so just depends on the booking.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. And then the last match, the main event of Monday Night Raw, was a cruiserweight match, which I thought was awesome, because I'm a big fan of the cruiserweights, so I liked that they got that push.
Oh yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thanks. But it was at the beginning of the show. There was a sort of promo with Kurt Angle and Enzo and the cruiserweights, where Enzo basically is called out and is told to defend his title against Kalisto in a lumberjack match. And he says, fine, I'll do it, but only if we're the main event. So I thought that was cool, honestly.
That was cool.
It was a nice way of getting the cruiserweights a little bit more exposure.
As much as it pains me to say, Enzo has brought the cruiserweight division
He's
up
unfortunately put them on the map more than anyone else has.
But I also feel...
And it was a great lumberjack match, honestly. I thought it was really cool. I liked how each cruiserweight got a chance to have their, moment again, like how they did when they were attacking Enzo, to sort of get people to care a little bit more about them. So, and of course, Kalisto is the new cruiserweight champion.
Of course.
He dedicated his win to Eddie and to Rey Mysterio.
That night, apparently Neville walked out. Raw.
So that was the other thing.
The rumor was that it was supposed to be Neville versus Enzo
in a lumberjack match, and for a non-title match, but then Neville was slated to lose.
Right.
And Neville, I think, took that as sort of like a this.
Yeah, because it's a big kind of and
to have Neville lose a non-title match was really sort of a waste, especially because of how dominant they had made him. So to have him dominate the entire cruiserweight division, and then have Enzo come out of nowhere to beat him and probably beat him clean.
And I imagine
in that scenario,
Neville probably took really great offense to it, as much work and effort as he's put into
building up the brand.
Yeah, and then you have Enzo who
honestly
sometimes can't even take a bump.
Yeah, and Enzo, who, I mean, good or bad, right or wrong, even if it's kayfabe or not, has shown that he does not care about the division.
Yeah.
And it might just be great heel work, but I mean, even the fact that he puts down the division as a whole.
Well, I think a lot of it would probably also have to do with the locker room. I mean, it's
which is ridiculous, because I'm sure Enzo is as hated in the locker room as Neville is loved.
Right.
A lot of people have a very high amount of respect for Neville. He's the second longest reigning NXT champion. He's a 2-time NXT tag team champion, once with Oliver Gray, once with Corey Graves. I mean, he's definitely shown that he has the chops. And him and Sami Zayn had one of the matches of the year.
His feud with Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
I mean,
and his feud with Sami Zayn, even, where Sami finally won the NXT belt. It really showed that he is capable of bringing a good presence to the table, whether he's a heel or a face. He's a very dynamic worker, and while I never really was a super huge fan of Neville,
it really has to be like a slap in the face.
Insanely talented, and I think definitely it was an insult, and I don't blame him for walking out. I do feel bad in the sense that it'll definitely affect the other cruiserweights and how they're booked. I hope that someone else gets a good opportunity out of this, but I don't know how the WWE books.
So far, we don't know what the situation is, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not confirmed by the WWE or by Neville.
if they'll
Wrestling
bring him
Observer
back
newsletter
or whatever.
had a couple of things to say. So did Dave Meltzer, where they more or less confirmed it, but because it wasn't confirmed by either Adrian Neville slash Pac slash Benjamin Satterley, however he's gonna go back to or remain as, and we haven't heard anything from the WWE. It's still sort of hard to tell. I would like to think crazily in my mind that this is a gimmick, but I mean Enzo Amore even has at house shows been like, oh, I made Neville quit.
You know, I mean,
which is good heel work.
If it
but
is
just,
legit, I
as a
would like to
person.
think that at least Triple H and Regal would be reaching out to Neville and trying to calm the situation down.
Oh, I have no doubt that if this is legitimate, that Triple H and Regal were the first people to be sort of like, dude. I was like, you can always.
I would really love to see a Triple H Neville feud.
I think that would be cool.
Even if it was just a small one, it'd be great. Other news: apparently that same night, Nia Jax was granted a time off. Apparently she's not happy right now either.
Well, I mean, the Raw women's division isn't necessarily used to its full potential.
Yeah. Well, they've booked her really, really badly.
Yeah.
It's been so wishy-washy.
Her specifically, but also people in general, the women's division and Raw in general. SmackDown is surprisingly usually, I've said it before and I'll say it again, is usually much more effective at using their women within their 2 hours than Raw is in their 3 hours. So, hopefully they'll be able to figure something out with that. But who can
Speaking
tell?
of SmackDown.
So Tuesday night SmackDown.
Yes, but what news do you have for SmackDown?
Oh, in general. So, and this was following a very specific incident of someone posting a picture on their Instagram with some friends of theirs that are not employed by the WWE. One, Jimmy Jacobs, is no longer employed by the WWE, which is definitely going to affect a lot of their storylines going forward.
Major.
Because he was responsible for a lot of things going on within SmackDown. And I mean, I'm sure that he was responsible for the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn storyline. So we'll see what happens now that he's no longer with the company.
Apparently,
he has the eyeliner back though, so I'm
yes, I saw that. Apparently,
so he
also wrote all of Jericho's promos.
Yeah,
Jericho's last big run.
I heard he did that. He came up with the list of Jericho. He probably did a lot of work as far as the Shane McMahon Kevin Owens feud. I'm sure he probably did a lot of promo work as far as, honestly, probably some of the stuff that was Usos and New Day. I mean, I'm sure they didn't really need that much help, but I'm sure he gave them a little bit. Yeah.
Right. So I mean,
and it's unfortunate.
Definitely going to hurt things
because all it was
forward.
is he posted a picture with certain members of New Japan faction called the Bullet Club. So he was with, I believe, the Young Bucks, Marty Scurll, and Adam Page. And Cody wasn't in the picture.
There's a second picture too now that he's been fired. That may be the one with Cody.
Yeah, no, it was taken at the Chicago store for Pro Wrestling Tees, where he has the new shirt he has, which is unprofessional, and he's got the Jimmy Jacobs eyeliner back on. So I'm excited to see if he's taking bookings and maybe is going to appear at
I imagine he will.
The Sea of Honor tournament on the Cruise of Jericho.
He definitely has a job waiting for him now with the Bullet Club. Really.
Yeah, or anywhere he chooses to go to.
It's WWE's loss.
It really is.
I think it was.
It is a huge loss, and I don't think they really realize how huge of a loss it is.
Yeah.
Because.
So be prepared to watch SmackDown kind of go down the drain now. Sadly.
It's really unfortunate.
So I don't know what all he was writing, but
I think a lot of the things that maybe were already set into motion should be safe, but things that are moving forward, or like things that now are starting to brew.
People are going to have to fight now for
spots.
Yeah. For their work to get the right attention.
Because I mean, and you could tell it even from last week's SmackDown, where, I mean, the Usos and New Day had a good Us Truce, where they showed each other respect. But I mean, then the promo that came after that, where it was the number one contendership, where it was Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable versus Breezango versus Hype Bros versus Ascension. You can kind of tell that that's where the promo work specifically starts to slide a little bit. Shelton Benjamin, Chad Gable won. I mean, obviously, I was hoping that they would give something to Breezango, especially because of how much they've been trying to push them.
It seemed like they were there for a second, and it didn't.
And then there was Becky Lynch beat Carmella in a match. And then came the moment everyone was waiting for. Sami Zayn explaining his actions.
And it was a rather...
And
I
got into a very heated discussion about it with my family. But the long and short of what he said was twofold. One, he was trying to protect Kevin Owens because, good or bad, right or wrong, Kevin Owens is his brother.
Right.
They may not have gotten along forever, but...
That's the gist of it, really.
Yeah, that Kevin Owens is his brother, and he wanted to make sure that Kevin Owens did not end his career or end his life.
Yeah.
And then the second part came that he felt like he was being wasted on SmackDown Live, and he came to a realization, and it was the promo that he had with Shane the week before, where Shane goes, "You worry about you, and I'll worry about me." And then Sami said something like, that's when he realized that Shane McMahon didn't care about Sami Zayn, didn't care about his career or his push or getting him into matches or whatnot. And that was when he started to see, he started to open his eyes. And the moment that he specifically points out is when Kevin Owens goes through the table midway through the cage, or through the cell, goes through the table, and Shane takes a moment, looks, and he's like, Shane had you beat there. Shane could have come down and finished you and finished the match just then. But he had to go up to the top. And that's when Sami was like, that was his big sort of epiphany.
Yes.
Where he was like, I can't let this happen because Shane McMahon doesn't care about ending the match. Shane McMahon cares about ending Kevin Owens. And ending his career.
And it wasn't going to happen because that's his best friend.
Yeah. And that's his brother.
Yeah.
And honestly, I liked how they sort of lampshaded how Shane McMahon gets all these huge matches. His last three opponents: Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, and The Undertaker.
Yeah.
So I mean, he gets all these great matches, and I mean, not to say he doesn't deserve them, but he doesn't need them. Whereas these matches could go to other people and really do a lot more for their careers. And especially for someone like Sami Zayn, who a lot of people have pointed out, he moved from Raw to SmackDown, he moved from Raw to SmackDown, so he was on Raw and he wasn't getting used well, and then he came to SmackDown, the land of opportunity, and everyone had so much more hope for him and his character and what he was going to do then. And then he didn't really get to do much. So it was kind of disappointing for a lot of people, I think. And he basically made that point where, he came to SmackDown thinking that there was going to be a spot for him, or an opportunity for him, and there wasn't.
Yeah.
And
there will be now.
Yeah, so hopefully now that he is best friends again with Kevin Owens, that will open up a lot more doors for him, because Kevin Owens has been consistently close to the top of the card since he started off in WWE.
Hopefully they'll get a tag run out of it.
I'm hoping
tag title run.
That would be awesome, honestly, and that's what KO needs.
I hate to
Grand Slam. He needs a tag run.
I hate to see teams like Breezango and others get pushed wayside, but I think it would be a great run for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Yeah. And they have so much experience working as a tag team already, so it wouldn't have to be something like they need to feel each other out and try and find what works for them, sort of like how Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin did. So it would be a nice little way to have something extra, especially now I think that New Day and the Usos are going to be a little bit less present for the next month and a half, maybe, because of that slobber knocker of a Hell in a Cell match.
And I mean, really, at this stage, they need some solid tag teams and to kind of repurpose the ones that aren't working, like the Ascension, and repackage them. We're also going to be getting the Bludgeon Brothers, which I don't know why they're going to be going by this now, but it's Harper and Rowan.
Yeah. I mean, I was happy to see that they're
finally
gonna be back on TV, because both of them work really well together.
But it looks like they're carrying big hammers
around.
But
it was a weird way to bring them back together. I don't know why you couldn't. I don't know why they couldn't just have them go back to.
They have a history, so it's not like they're two random guys stuck together. They could just easily say, "Oh, look, Harper and Rowan are back together. Oh my goodness, this only means bad things for us now."
Yeah.
But
so I mean, the rebranding of them was a little weird, but maybe who knows? Maybe it'll be something that ends up working out. Maybe that's one of the last remnants of Jimmy Jacobs, and it's gonna be genius. Who knows?
I don't know.
Jimmy Jacobs has done really good work, so we can hope.
So and then, what else?
So that one, after that was Nakamura and Randy Orton versus Rusev and Aiden English, because Aiden English is now best buddies with Rusev. Mm-hmm. Of course, Nakamura and Orton beat Rusev and English.
And here's what I think this is going to lead to. I think we'll see a little bit more of Nakamura and Orton tagging, and then Orton will go heel on Nakamura.
It would be a good way to have Nakamura stay in the sort of upper card picture without going for a belt.
Yeah.
The
upside is that may be the feud that establishes Nakamura. The downside is if it's a typical Orton match,
it won't.
Yeah. Orton will push to go over, and that will kill Nakamura's.
Yeah. So hopefully
this will
be hopefully it'll be positive for Nakamura. But only time will tell. Then after that was more Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, with Dolph Ziggler calling out Bobby Roode saying, you had my tights, you cheated. And so the rematch is tonight, and we'll see how that pans out. And then the last match of the night was a rematch for the United States Championships. That was Baron Corbin, who unfortunately retained against AJ Styles.
Which...
I mean, Styles didn't...
It's the way to get the rematch out of the way and still have Styles kind of open for other things and out of the division. Because I expect we'll see Styles at some point challenge Jinder
Mahal,
or
definitely.
win some kind of number one contendership or something along those lines.
Oh, for sure.
Which may be the feud that establishes Jinder Mahal finally.
So we'll see.
Lots of
things.
Big things are going up on SmackDown. Maybe if it doesn't go downhill from now on.
And so then 205 had Kalisto celebrating his win as the new Cruiserweight champion. Had Rich Swann beating TJ Perkins in a 2 out of 3 falls match, sort of establishing Rich Swann a little bit more. Because basically he delivered this promo at the beginning of the match going, once this match is done, this is it between you and me. There's no more fighting. Whoever wins this is the better man. And Swann came out as on top. So we have yet to see Perkins in action since. So we'll see what happens.
I never end up catching 205 that often. It's like I always binge watch. It's like I'll sit down finally to watch it.
And you'll watch like 10 episodes in a row. Yeah, same. I've been trying to keep up with it a little bit more now that we're doing this. So Drew Gulak versus Akira Tozawa never really happened. It did give Drew Gulak a little bit more of a chance to look brutal because he attacked Tozawa before the match even started. So it gave him a nice chance to be a little bit more brutal. And then it was Kalisto and Mustafa Ali versus Arya Daivari and Enzo Amore. So Enzo Amore is starting to get a little bit more alliances in the Cruiserweight division.
That's one of the problems I have is that they're not showing that on Raw. They show him with these guys. They don't show how he's winning them over.
Yeah.
And, like this past week, I was like, okay, now he has 5 friends.
Yeah. It seems like out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we got Daivari, And then now all of these guys who were just beating his ass like 2 weeks ago are now
cool with him.
henchmen.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is
It was a little weird. Yeah, so then NXT actually was pretty cool last week. I got to watch it. So NXT, they started figuring out who the Kairi Sane's contenders are going to be for the NXT Women's Championship belt that is currently vacant. So that's going to be defended at the next NXT pay-per-view, which I believe is NXT Houston, during Survivor Series weekend. So the first round was Liv Morgan, Enzo Amore's ex-girlfriend, Nikki Cross of Sanity, and Peyton Royce of the Iconic Duo, in a triple threat match, which ended with Nikki Cross taking the pin from Peyton Royce after a spinning heel kick and what she calls the UGG, which is her bridging fisherman suplex. Now, this is because Taynara Conti, one of the competitors in the Mae Young Classic, was goaded into interfering in the match by the Undisputed Era. So we don't know where this thread is going to go. But then when she tried to confront them later in the show and be like, all right, guys, I held up my part of the deal. Now you have to do what you guys are going to do. They iced her out and pretended like they didn't know what she was talking about. So we'll see how that plays out. The next match was Lio Rush, finally in action, versus the Velveteen Dream. Unfortunately, Lio Rush lost after what the Velveteen Dream calls a purple rainmaker, which is a diving elbow drop. Yeah. Then this was sort of more to further the feud that Velveteen Dream has with Aleister Black, because when he won the match, he went and sat in the middle of the ring, cross-legged, like how Aleister Black usually does.
I'm not into Aleister Black.
I'm not as into him as I think they would like me to be.
I just can't.
He's okay. It's weird to me to see a man do a spinning heel kick.
Well, that's not even as weird to me, but
it's a little weird to me. Because it's been relegated to a more female move lately.
It's true, but it's just like
interesting to see a man use it.
It just seems like he does way too much martial arts for the matches. No.
It's not quite the end yet. I'm sorry.
Good.
We still got so much to talk about. Then there was Lars Sullivan versus Danny Burch.
Love Lars Sullivan.
And Lars Sullivan got the win over Danny Burch, who was part of the UK tournament, after a spinning side spinebuster.
I'm
Although
very
Burch
happy with
had
the build.
had a good performance in the beginning of the match. He was quickly, overpowered by Lars Sullivan.
He has a really nice old school heel feel to him.
He's got really nice old school heel look to him.
Yeah, he does. His head and his hands are way too big for his body, even though his body's big too.
It works for him though, and it works because it's not what we're used to seeing in this.
He'll never be like the main eventer or anything. I think he's only like 6'3", maybe 6'4" at most.
I mean, he dwarfs most people.
Well, most of them in NXT are pretty small. But
like Adam Cole.
If he goes up on the main roster, he's not going to look extraordinary in comparison to anyone. Yeah. I mean, besides his general aesthetic look of being just this crazy old school heel. Mm-hmm. But the gimmick itself, if they kept that, it could work. I mean, he may never be like Ted DiBiase level heel.
Oh,
but I would say if used right, he could be better than like Heidenreich and Snitsky and all those.
Batista.
He could be like an upper level heel monster type. Yeah. Umaga, even though Umaga should have been more than he was.
But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally see that being a thing if they keep going that route with him.
She's still on the show.
She's trying to.
Because she's the best person out of all.
Oh no, it's like the beach ball.
Oh no.
What's going on?
Cesaro will like rip it. I can't wait to see what my face looked like as you popped it, because I was just like, oh god. So there's a video package after that showing the Undisputed Era approaching Roderick Strong after his loss to Drew McIntyre for the title. And then it sort of gave a thing about how there's going to be this week a video or an interview with Drew McIntyre, sort of addressing the situation. The next match after that was Street Profits finally in the ring. So Street Profits, which is Angelo Dawkins, if you remember, he's the one that stirs the bowl. That's always been part of his entrance. I don't know why. Ah! And Montez Ford versus Marcos Espada and Daniel Smith. So they had a pretty good tag team combination going on between them as far as the Street Profits go. So it was a Spine Buster by Dawkins and a Frog Splash by Ford to get the pin on Daniel Smith. So they won their match. The announcement for next week's match was for the next triple threat, which was Ruby Riott, Amber Moon, and Sonya Deville, also known as Jerry Bernardo. She used to have an MMA career. She's also one of the few members of the WWE roster that is out. She is a lesbian.
Isn't she one of the trainers or something? Helpers too?
As far as I know, no, but maybe.
I was thinking she was. I'll have to look that up.
And then the last match of the night, the main event, was Andrade Cien Almas El Idolo versus Johnny Gargano. And sort of furthering their feud, kind of, but also adding more fire for what will eventually be a feud between Gargano and Ciampa when Ciampa is out, or when Ciampa's back from his injury. He tore his ACL, I believe. So he is out until early 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So maybe Rumble weekend, he comes back at that pay-per-view.
That would be interesting.
But yeah, Andrade Cien almost had beaten Johnny Gargano after Hammerlock DDT after a distraction from his valet, who I don't remember her. Selena Vega, I think. Her real name is Thea Trinidad. Mm-hmm. She is Austin Aries' fiance.
Yeah.
And is actually playing AJ Lee in the movie they're doing about Paige.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So she takes off the jacket that she had zipped up for the whole time, and underneath is a DIY shirt. And while Johnny Gargano's like, that doesn't distract me, it distracts him, and
stupid.
And Almas gets the win.
Oh, good.
That was NXT.
He hasn't been like.
I'm glad Almas got the win.
Yeah,
because he's been kind of consistently buried.
Yeah.
In the last couple of
especially
months.
Since he was such a big acquisition.
Yeah.
For NXT.
I mean, La Sombra.
Right.
He took off his mask for them. It's dark. Sister Abigail.
Everyone should have kids.
The Pumpkin King. But yeah, so then we're gonna go to what happened on Monday Night Raw. So Monday Night Raw this week opened up with Kurt Angle talking about the marquee match of tables, ladders, and chairs. So that was
the Shield.
The Shield. And then in the middle of his promo, you hear Sierra Hotel India Echo Lima Delta Shield.
And then you hear Roman Reigns.
And then they come. Although that was Shield music before it was Roman Reigns music. They clear the ring. Reigns is like, it's smart of you to submit the ring to us, because anyone that doesn't
with the big dogs,
anyone that doesn't give the ring to the big dogs, we're gonna come out here and beat their ass. And I was just like, and then Seth Rollins immediately is like, whoa, calm down there, big dog.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, Kurt.
I don't know.
It was a very weird way to portray
like
him, especially when they're trying to have the Shield come back as a face stable.
Right. I like the Shield, and I'm still not crazy about Roman Reigns. It's not that I.
What could possibly get him over at this point?
Roman.
Yeah, you got to turn him heel. And the rumor going around is, I don't know if you've heard this or not, is that after the pay-per-view, the Shield won't last too long.
Yeah.
And that Ambrose is going to go heel on Rollins. I know you're probably like just in heaven right now.
I love Mox.
So that's the rumor, and then Reigns will go along and
let it happen,
do his own
WWE.
thing.
Book it.
And as we see at the end of Raw, I'm going to ruin the surprise here because
wait. We're gonna go through the rest of it first, because it's so good. I mean, it's not so good, but it was kind of cool. It was a surprise. It was a genuine surprise because I don't think anyone was expecting it.
Surprise.
So we'll wait until we're close to the end. All right, so they had Elias Sampson come out with the Good Brothers and sing the Honky Tonk Man theme song, which was kind of awesome.
I mean, really. It is definitely the best segment to watch of Raw, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just because with Gallows and
they were
Anderson
Honky Tonk Men.
And Elias.
Yeah.
You know, Elias has done some great heel work. I would give Elias MVP status for Raw. He's really been great. He's been built up nice and slow. You know, put him in like the Intercontinental division and let him go for a little bit. Don't push him too fast, and good stuff.
And then that led to a match between Elias Sampson and the Good Brothers, which are, of course, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, versus Jason Jordan and Titus Worldwide. So what he's been talking about for the past couple weeks, which was
months,
years,
however long they've been together.
Yeah. So it was Jason Jordan with Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews. Now Apollo Crews got the pin.
Yeah,
I was happy.
I've been talking for a while now that Titus and Apollo need a tag, and just push this tag team of them together. And it's only here lately.
They finally did it.
They finally had a match together.
They finally listened to you.
Even though it's been like a
they got one of your letters finally.
But maybe they're spying on me.
Push Sammy.
They are needing a new writer. I'm your guy.
Yeah, he sure is. Then after that was an Asuka video package, which led to Emma sort of being salty about how Asuka's getting such coverage, even though she hasn't even been here. She's like, Asuka hasn't even done anything, which led to Alexa Bliss going, "Yeah, I know. She doesn't even go here." And them having a moment where they become tag team partners for the match that's going to happen later in the night. So it was Alexa Bliss and Emma versus Mickie James and whoever she could find. Maybe Betty White. That was their promo.
Close.
Whatever.
What? Everybody loves Betty White.
Okay. The next after that was a video package of the feud between Cedric Alexander and the Brian Kendrick, which led up into Cedric Alexander's match against Jack Gallagher. So Jack Gallagher comes in and is accompanied to the ring by the Brian Kendrick. So both of them are in the ring at first. Then Cedric Alexander's like, "Oh yeah, I figured you guys would try and pull this double team crap. So I got a partner of my own." And so he brings in Rich Swann, which sort of evens out the score to make sure that Brian Kendrick can't interfere in the match too much. Happy that Jack Gallagher is no longer wrestling in his old wrestling attire. Sad they still haven't changed his entrance music.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's actually really nice that he's sort of looks more like a gentleman bruiser now with the just wrestling in plain clothes. Love it, honestly. Unfortunately for Jack Gallagher, Cedric Alexander got the win because he landed that lumbar check, which is probably one of my favorite moves of any cruiserweight.
It is an awesome looking move.
And I was really scared when Alexander got that knee injury that he wasn't going to be able to do it anymore.
Yeah, it is an amazing looking move. Great finisher.
Oh, yeah. So after that, the next segment was Miz TV with Braun Strowman, and I wrote this down because I was so, I was like, oh, this is good, and then it's like, ugh. So Cesaro says he'll break Dean's back with the chair. Sheamus says he'll break Rollins' leg, pushing him off the ladder. And Miz will break Roman Reigns' spirit when he puts him through a table.
But the absolute best was the beginning where the crowd started chanting for Curtis Axel.
Yeah, Axman! Which was awesome.
And they couldn't help but pay attention to it. Cesaro's
they gave him a moment.
And Miz is like, I'll applaud for that.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was awesome.
It was.
Axman, the chains.
Listen to the fans.
The chains are off. So he then talks about how since Dirty Dean said they'll fight against 3, 4, 5 guys, why not make them fight 5 guys? So
what happened to integrity?
Angle comes out and is like, no, that's not going to work.
He said 5.
And then Miz going, words matter. He said that he would do it. So what about holding them up to their integrity of following through with what they say?
Mm-hmm.
So then Angle adds a stipulation to what the main event is. So the main event is Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns in a steel cage. So the stipulation now is if Roman Reigns wins, it'll remain a traditional 3-on-3, and they'll take Braun Strowman out of the match. So it will be the Shield versus Sheamus, Cesaro, and The Miz. If Braun Strowman wins, he can stay in the match. So it would be the Shield versus Sheamus, Cesaro, The Miz, Braun Strowman, and a fifth man, which the implication was
Curtis Axel.
So then, of course, they're like, yeah, no. Braun Strowman just sort of like, yeah, I can do that. Whatever, I'll
They
beat
did
them.
a good job of pushing the idea that it'll be Axel. They did do a good job of that.
I thought it was going to be Axel. So then the next match that's after that is Alicia Fox and Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks winning with her bank statement. After the match, in a backstage interview, she gets attacked by Alicia Fox. Alicia Fox attacks Sasha Banks and a referee, and then more referees come in.
Alicia Fox is crazy.
Like a fox. And then that's when they announced that it's going to be on the pre-show of Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. It's going to be Alicia Fox versus Sasha Banks.
Do you think when they turn Dean Ambrose heel, they'll have him and Alicia Fox as an idol?
Because they're both going to be crazy heels.
Crazy heels.
Who knows?
It would work.
I mean, they bounce Alicia Fox around from guy to guy, so maybe they'll do it. Anyway.
She's crazy is why.
Enzo comes out after that. Gives this long promo about how he was cheated out of his title.
How you doing?
Then Kalisto enters and is like, you gotta stop blaming people for your problems because you lost.
How you doing?
Then there was an ambush attack on Kalisto from all of Enzo's new friends out of nowhere. So it was Drew Gulak, Tony Nese, Noam Dar, and Arya Daivari.
Tony Nese is really surprising for that one.
Yeah.
Daivari, I mean,
all of these
up
men
for it, but
beat up Enzo Amore in that one segment.
Yeah, it's just 2-3 weeks ago. So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me.
They all gang up on Kalisto. Mustafa Ali comes in to try and get the save. They gang up on both of them. Yeah. Enzo does get to hit Eat Defeat, which is Gail Kim's move. It's called, I looked it up because I was like, I wonder what they call it for him. Jadunzo. Like, you're done. Jadunzo.
Oh. Yeah.
We are not doing well after that.
You can't teach it. What was the next segment?
It was the tag team match. So it was the Shield, which is Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, over the Bar, which is Sheamus and Cesaro. After Dirty Deans from Ambrose to Cesaro, and that was for the tag team champ belts. Yeah. So Shield retains going into TLC.
That was a really high-paced, action-packed match.
It was a good match,
and it really was probably the best match of the night.
I mean, it was nice to see the tag team work between Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Mm-hmm. So works so well now that they're back as part of the Shield. It was a nice way to sort of show that now that they're back together, now that they're all on the same page, they work so much better together.
At the end of the match, all four men were breathing hard.
Yeah.
They were going. I don't know if there was a time constraint that they wanted to get all this stuff in as much as they could, but they were working it. And some major props to them for that. I think it was probably definitely the best match of the night.
Oh, yeah. Easily the best match of the night, honestly. And I mean, all four of those men are incredibly talented in the ring, and you can tell they work really well together, which is why they keep pushing this feud. So Curtis Axel, then we go backstage and see Curtis Axel giving a pep talk.
This is where I start getting a little irritated. Axel's talking smack, Braun enters, He's like, yeah, Braun, you got to beat him tonight because I want to fight Roman Reigns.
And kind of goads Braun Strowman kind of goads
and
Curtis
Sheamus
Axel.
and Cesaro were already kind of like, this guy's running his mouth and they're big tough guys and that's their gimmick. But we've never seen them with cowardly heels before. And so you have the big tough heels, Cesaro and Sheamus, then super big tough heel, Braun Strowman enter, and you have like Curtis Axel continuing that cowardly Miz gimmick.
Yeah.
And it really, to me, it really made the tough guy heels seem face-ish.
Yeah.
And it really presented a really awkward thing. I no longer care about the Shield.
It was very awkward.
I no longer care about the Shield in this match. I wanted to see Cesaro and Sheamus and Braun Strowman whip Miz and Curtis Axel's ass at that point. I want to see that 5-man group implode.
Yeah.
And it kind of created a weird dynamic.
The strong members of the team versus the weak members of the team, yeah.
Especially when you're like, the Shield is the Shield, and you know it's not going to last forever, and Roman Reigns is not going to get
But
over
you know also
it.
they're gonna go over on Sunday.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it was just a weird sort of thing, like, okay, this wasn't very well thought out. So then Curtis Axel does. He's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure. I'll go find Roman right now." He sucks it up.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, you're right. I should totally do this. Yeah, I'll do it.
And I was like,
and he goes and tries to find Roman Reigns.
But then I was also happy. Hey, Curtis Axel's getting some airtime.
Yeah.
So I was happy about
X-Man. So the next thing that happens, of course, is what we were talking about from before. Balor cuts a promo against Wyatt where he is now the Pumpkin King Demon.
Yeah.
The fact that his face was painted like a pumpkin, that was...
If it had been like a skeleton or some other sort of...
too much.
Sort of thing, the pumpkin was not working.
There's not really much else to say about that, but it was not a good idea.
Or if it was somebody else's on the show's idea.
It was not a good idea.
It wasn't a good idea. The Sister Abigail thing, the way they're going about it, not a good idea.
It's very weird.
Everybody has been waiting for Sister Abigail.
Yeah.
So
with it being an actual chick, also
for the big twist of it being Bray, kind of
it defeats it.
Yeah.
But that's another.
We've covered that, but
so the next match was Mickie James and her tag team partner, who is Bayley, versus Alexa Bliss and Emma. Mickie James getting the win after a Mick kick.
I kind of wish it was Betty White, since you mentioned that. That would have been awesome.
That would have been funny.
She's like 100 now.
But after a Mick kick from Mickie James on Alexa Bliss, she got the pin. So that bodes well, right? The challenger pinning the champion going into the pay-per-view. But of course, now that means Alexa Bliss.
She's still in my spotlight.
Yeah, because she's prettier than you. It's true. So the next thing is Curtis Axel finds Roman Reigns. He's walking around. He sees the shield. And commercial.
Yeah.
So Miz finds the rest of his team coming back from the commercial break. And they're talking. And then he's like, wait. Where's Curtis Axel?
And
they're like, oh, he went to go find Roman Reigns.
He went to find Roman Reigns.
Exactly like that. And then there's this look of panic on the Miz's face. And
the rest are laughing again.
Yeah.
You know, it's
and he goes to try and find the misguided soul of Curtis Axel. Then Bayley and Mickie James walk in talking. And Mickie James cuts a promo in the backstage interview about how she, wants to become the 7-time women's champion to make her son proud. Which I thought was a nice little face thing for her.
Although she didn't, give a shout out to Magnus or anything.
No. She probably would have been fired on the spot.
To make my younger husband proud.
Yeah. So, Miz ends up...
He'll be in NXT anytime now.
Later finding Curtis Axel destroyed and hanging upside down from a forklift.
Which, again, now your face is kind of doing this heel thing. It's beyond like the Shield, the Hounds of Justice. Mm-hmm. It's like this was a frat boy prank.
Yeah, you're just picking on a dude now. Yeah. You're just bullying a guy.
It's so weird.
It was overkill.
And I mean, if you watch and you know the face heel dynamic, the faces do not act like faces, and the heels don't always act like heels.
But...
And it ruins it.
Yeah. But, so then, he's being interviewed, and he's like, I think the world of Curtis Axel, but he was never our fifth man.
Never.
Brutal. So I wonder who it could
be. It's Bo. Did something pop when you did that?
It did.
That sounded really bad.
It's my jaw. My jaw pops. Crackety jaw.
So yeah. So
then the main event happens. Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns. So again, the stipulation is if Strowman wins, they get to add the two people, Strowman and a fifth member. If Reigns wins, it's still 3-on-3. So Braun Strowman does end up winning
It was a good match-ish. I mean, Braun looked strong in the match.
Yeah.
And then
Braun looked
Roman
strong
has
compared
a strong
to Roman.
comeback. Oh. And Roman has a strong comeback, and then Sheamus and Cesaro try to interfere.
And the Shield comes out,
runs them
stops.
off. Miz locks them in the back.
Yeah, Miz locks him in the parking garage.
So then we have the big finish. Roman's going to take out Braun for good. He's going to hit the big spear. And the lights go out. It shines red.
And the firecrackers come out.
And then Michael Cole sells it so awful. He should be fired. Like, he's John. I mean, he's just so shitty. Like, could it be him? Who else could it be, Michael Cole? He's just vintage stupid is what he is.
Vintage Michael Cole.
Say something stupid. Vintage Michael Cole. Yeah, with Corey Graves there, like, there's no reason to have Michael Cole anymore. Bye.
Shoot.
Send him to Impact.
Oh.
So, Kane comes up out of the ring because, of course, where else would he come from? And every time they do that, like that little trapdoor thing, I always think about the British Bulldog who got slammed on it, and then his spine melted because he got infected. And, of course, he died. So, yeah, let's keep doing that. It does literally. It enters my head every time I see that trapdoor.
It's just much.
Yeah. So, yeah, Kane comes out, and Roman's like...
Like, what? Kane?
What? Well, go over there. You know we can't be quiet. So Kane comes up out of the ring, and Roman never thinks at the time, like, maybe I should kick him and knock him back down the hole.
No.
He watches him come up out because he's in awe and shock.
Yeah.
And...
Like that.
Yeah. And then, of course, they start fighting, and Kane whips his ass, and he, like...
Chokeslams him several times.
And then Braun comes over, the lights come on. Braun comes over and
chokeslams
him. And Kane, like, chokeslams him again. Then Braun power slams him, and then Kane's like, tombstone. Yeah. And then Braun power slams him and wins.
Yeah.
And then it's announced by Miz. Kane is our fifth man. Member. And let me just say this. At what point...
Did he give up doing politics?
Well, that is a good question, because... I don't know if he won or lost, or it's over, if it's still ongoing or what. Or if they go, we don't know what the hell we're doing, so let's give Kane a call. Yeah. Or if he just said, hey, you guys are in the area. I don't know what happened there, but at what point do you think Roman Reigns, who's booed out of almost every building when his name flashes up or his music hits, even that night he was booed on Raw, wasn't booed during the Shield entrance, booed when it's on the one-on-one match. Yeah. So that says a lot. When you have your face that's booed that much and hated, and then you have a returning Kane who is beloved by wrestling fans, who are they going to boo and who are they going to cheer for? Yeah. Anybody?
It was a misfire. They did not...
Misfire. Yeah, it's very bad. Like, how do you get heat from that? How do you get the fans to go, oh gosh, I sure hope Roman's okay.
I hope he wins.
Plus, the match that he interferes in is the most over guy in WWE, Braun Strowman, or at least on Raw.
Yeah. So.
Totally crazy.
Going into the pay-per-view, we'll see how this impacts it.
I would have booked it totally differently. Of course, I didn't know Kane was coming back, but we should do a fantasy booking show, actually, one day.
One of these days.
And just take all these shows and go through it and be like, okay, how would you book it? Because I would not have booked it like that.
I don't think most people would have, but what do we know? Anyway, since this video is almost an hour long, we are gonna cut it off here. It's all right. Snip, snip, snip.
Let me, Daddy.
Let you what? Oh, you're gonna turn it off for us. This is Miss MQ, the Wrestling Connoisseur.
And this is the Loose Cannon. See you later. And that's gonna be Allison.
Freeze frame.